guys, welcome to today's episode of Community Links, where service meets students. I'm Caitlin Pages.
And I'm Alyssa McFadden. On today's episode, we're going to get to know a representative from the Alzheimer's Association.
Later, two seniors, Mike Brown and Bregnan Rigney, will sit down with us to tell us all about the details from their latest Harlan, Kentucky trip.
Before we talk to our Alzheimer's Association rep, we just want to show a quick video with some facts and figures from 2015.
One disease, millions of lives permanently disrupted. Today, there are over 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's disease. But Alzheimer's is taking more than memories. It's taking lives. What few realize is that Alzheimer's kills more people than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. And Alzheimer's is the only disease in the top 10 causes of death that can't be slowed, stopped, or prevented. From 2000 to 2013, while deaths from other diseases decreased significantly, Alzheimer's deaths increased 71%. But equally disturbing, many living with Alzheimer's say they are not being told their diagnosis. While more than 90% of people with the most common types of cancer say they are told their diagnosis, only 45% of people with Alzheimer's or their caregivers say they are told. The economic toll is staggering too. In 2015, it will cost the nation $226 billion to care for people with Alzheimer's. By 2030, 72 million baby boomers will reach an age of greater risk. The fact is, everyone's at risk for Alzheimer's, even you. But everyone can help, especially you. We're the Alzheimer's Association, the brains behind saving yours. Join us.
So we're here with Elaine Griffin, who gave us that great video. So hi, thank you so much for coming.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm happy to share the facts of what's going on with Alzheimer's today. As you can see, it's pretty startling. I think you both were surprised how Alzheimer's kills more than breast cancer and prostate.
And prostate cancer.
The new statistics are coming out like next week. I would have had them.
Oh, okay.
And some of them are saying that we might be the number 2 cause of death. Now, there's been a lot of interest in Alzheimer's with all the football players getting dementia and that kind of thing. So it's at this point now there's a lot more awareness. So I'm delighted to be here to talk about this.
Absolutely, and we're very excited to have you from the Alzheimer's Association. And to start us off, we'll jump right in. How did you get involved? I understand it's something very personal.
You know, I lost my mother to Alzheimer's, and this happened about 30 years ago when nobody even knew what Alzheimer's was, or they vaguely knew about it, okay? There were no services, and I firsthand understood or experienced what a devastating toll Alzheimer's disease takes. And I come from a big family with a lot of kids, stuff like that. But it was just, I mean, people talk a lot about how my mom didn't recognize any of us, and that is the toughest thing of all. And what I'm happy about now is I've been working for the Alzheimer's Delaware Valley chapter on and off for 5 years now. About 5 years. I've also worked in London with this society there. But the great news is that we have many wonderful free programs for anybody touched by Alzheimer's. And that's one of the things I would love to talk about, the difference now. I mean, we have some slides I think that are coming up, but one of them is we have a 24-hour, 7 days a week helpline in 160 languages.
Oh, wow.
So anybody, you can see the little, right there, that great flyer. But the point is that in the middle of the night, if you're a caregiver and you don't know what to do with your husband, with your wife, you can call them up and say, this is what's happening, what should I do? You know what I mean? Absolutely. If you just want to complain, do you know what I mean? And then at that point, we would connect you with our caregiver support groups. Because, you know, it's so, my family felt like we were alone. We, you know, it was like everyone's in
silence. You didn't have any of the resources. You didn't have anyone to reach out to. And here
we do 200 support groups, caregiver support groups, throughout the 3-state radius, and there's thousands, probably 100,000 in the whole country. But the idea is, if I was an adult child living far away from my parent, I could go to a caregiver support group with people that, because you feel guilty. You're not there. You can't.
Absolutely.
You can't be hands-on. If I'm a man, I mean, often caregivers are women, and if they want specifically a male group, okay, we have different languages. We have, you know, we also have a new thing: people that are newly diagnosed. If you have those caregivers, I mean, if you know, your husband's, or I'll tell you, your wife is 65. She just finds out she has Alzheimer's, and as the husband, you would think, oh my God, you know, and what's better? You want to talk to someone who's in the same boat as you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most
you know what I
definitely.
mean? Or someone who's been doing it longer that has suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think that's a great thing that a lot of nonprofits, but specifically you guys have, is the resources for people who just don't know what's going on, and
yeah.
giving them the answers that, or maybe at least the advice that people can't give them otherwise.
And we do consumer education programs. One of our most popular ones, which are free, you know, anywhere they might be in the library, a Rotary Club, wherever. But one of them is Know the 10 Signs, because everybody on a bad day thinks they're having Alzheimer's, and it's your biggest fear, you know what I mean? And it goes through, the whole idea of this is that it's not an instance of a couple bad days, you know, it's a progressive decline where you're confused about everything. An example would be, you look at your car keys and you don't know what they're for. Not like you've lost them. We've all lost our car keys, but we don't remember that. But it's like you have no idea what they're for. And so, you know, the point of Alzheimer's disease is brain cells are being destroyed and they're not coming back. So that's why it manifests in different ways, and that's why the behavior is so different. What we're pushing for more than ever now, though, is having people get the diagnosis. If you saw in the video, 45% of the people, I think, have not been given a diagnosis. And, you know, obviously with the medications you're on, with everything else, and first of all, people should know, a doctor should know.
Most definitely,
Or-
so they can start helping them as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, as I said, there's a lot of room for awareness, but I want to emphasize, Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging. It's a serious disease that you die from.
Yeah.
We emphasize, we can't slow it down, we can't prevent it, we don't have a cure. You know what I mean? So right now, we're all about getting together and figuring out what we can do.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is very terrifying, and what a lot of like television shows or movies really hit on with Alzheimer's, and I think that has to be a great almost like
Awareness.
Yes,
if nothing
awareness
else.
for the disease, is that when people are diagnosed, that period where they have these 10 signs like you mentioned, but they never really put it all together, and now it's just kind of like a waiting game, like when's it going to get worse, what am I going to forget next, and then it kind of like sneaks up on you, and that's going to be
I think what is
awful.
really difficult is, you know, we do early stage support groups now. That's one of the things that we do. People who are just newly diagnosed, so they can start understanding the course of the disease, just because at some point, cognitively, they're not going to be aware of it. So they can make plans. That's like the whole idea. You want to make plans, get your affairs in order. And hopefully you have a caregiver. You have someone that you can rely on that's going to be there for you. We do a lot of outreach to many groups that maybe wouldn't have it designated. I mean, for that matter, I mean, nowadays people are divorced, they had children, their children live far away. Do you know what I mean? You can never care. I mean, you can never count for sure that someone's going to be there. And that's really the biggest challenge of Alzheimer's. People live a long time with the disease, but they need to be supervised. They need, because once again, brain cells are being destroyed, they're not going to have this sound judgment. They're going to wander, they're not, oh, and by the way, we do training with first responders, police departments, fire department, because the people that have Alzheimer's will present like they're drunk or they're mentally ill, and that is not the case. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about awareness on every level.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
So with that, we would like to know exactly, like, or not exactly, but in general, what you need us to do to help this association.
Many things. I was waiting for that question, both of you guys, okay? We look at our volunteers, our wonderful volunteers, as an extension of what we do. You know, we have maybe 50 staff, but we have thousands of volunteers. We have many areas. One of the first things I really want to pitch is on April the 6th, we have a day on the Hill where we're going to Washington, D.C. We have buses leaving from Jersey and from Philadelphia and from Wilmington, Delaware as well. But the idea is we're going to meet our elected representatives, and we're going to talk about a personal story like mine, but the bottom line is we need money for research, all right? We need money for legislation. caregivers, it's a huge toll to take care of people. It's totally a huge toll, and that's really what we want people to realize that, and give us the money to really find a cure. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Other than that, we have tons of things. We have many activities where we always need people to show up at, partying, some fun things, Partying Purple, I can hold them up, Casino night, things like that, but we need that.
Awesome.
But my favorite will always be, Dementia Conference Show, I'll talk about that. My favorite is the Walk to End Alzheimer's, all right? We
Fabulous.
have 7 coming up. It's on the screen. Yep. But what we need is, we need those SAL students, we need anybody who's watching. We need people to walk, we need people to volunteer, but we have, it is so much fun. It is the best thing ever. By the way, we're the #1, Philly's the #1 walk of all of them in the whole country. We've had 15,000 people. We do it at Citizens Bank Park. It's really fun, and we raise a lot of money. But that is our way to have people come together and feel good about it. I mean, whether they're in its memory of someone who had it, that they've lost, themselves. I mean, it is such a powerful thing. And we're only ever hopeful that there's going to be a time where we don't have Alzheimer's. But until that, we are going to be doing everything we possibly can. And that's why we need volunteers all the time. So
we only have about 2 minutes left or so to talk to you guys. I wish we could talk to you a little bit more.
You can tell. I wish I could talk to you.
Most definitely.
Right.
But very quickly, could you just give kind of one example of a time when you really enjoyed what you were doing, or maybe a favorite part of your job?
Well, I'll tell you. One of the biggest joys for me is to be out in the community, to tell people that I work for Alzheimer's, and I will automatically get a story from someone, my mother-in-law, my sister, you know what I mean, my grandfather.
So it's this connection.
And
really.
Sometimes too, it'll be, I don't know what to do. I'm just, I got kids, my mom, and to be able to give those resources, to be able to say, here's the helpline, call this anytime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to say a support group. But by the way, caregivers try to do it all, and that's not the case. You want help. Once again, you want to enlist everybody, because together we're so much stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Also,
I agree.
I want to point out, our volunteers are the most loyal ones ever, because they show up, they care, and that makes my job really, really easy.
And to volunteer, we're actually going to have your email pop up right now.
egriffin@alz.org. Email me anytime. I would love to have you, because seriously, we do a lot of other basic, if anyone wants to do like data entry and like that. But thank you for letting me be on.
Thank you for being on.
Oh, and together we can beat this disease.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Fabulous call to action. So thank you so much again, and we hope you enjoyed hearing our conversation all about the Alzheimer's Association.
Stay tuned. After our quick break, we're going to talk to some of our favorite comms seniors about Project Appalachia.
And
Thanks so
And Todd?
Yeah?
Not sure about those two.
I've been meaning to ask you,
This is tougher than I thought.
is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No?
I hope not, because alcohol can lead you to say things and do things that you really wish you hadn't.
Isn't this what you're supposed to say?
I know.
So if any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't.
I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you.
Brian,
Yeah?
So start the conversation even before they're teenagers.
Good idea.
For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things, none of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Welcome back to Community Links, the show that brings service to you. So before the break, we mentioned we are going to be talking to some COMS seniors. We're here with Mike Brown and Brendan Rigney to talk a little bit about their adventure to Harlan, Kentucky. So hi guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for having
Welcome
us
to
on.
the COMS Center.
Thank you.
You basically live here, but that's okay. Do you want to start kind of with our little intro, because we have to admit that we went on Kentucky, so we know a little bit about it.
Just a little, but it's fine.
If you want to.
But every experience is different, so we've heard, and we'd like to hear specifically about yours and the spring experience, because we went in the summer of last year. But let's start off with, this definitely wasn't your first year. Is this your second, third time going? Talk about that.
Well, this is my 4th year on the trip. I've been going
4 years?
Yes, 4th year.
They
I've
made
been
a
going
rule,
since I was
so you
a
can't do that
freshman.
anymore.
Yeah, because of me.
Slid right in there.
So yeah, this was my 4th year on the trip, my first year coordinating. So I've been doing this since I was a freshman. So it's been really great to see not only my personal progression during the program, but getting to know the carpenters and the people of Harlan over the past 4 years and how those relationships have developed and the different types of work we've been able to do in that time.
Okay.
This was my 6th service trip, but only the second one I did here at LaSalle, so only my second time in Harlan. First year as a coordinator as well, and just going off of what Mike says, it was a beautiful time getting to know the people of Harlan, and even from between the 2 years that I've done it, I would love to have had an experience of 4 years to see the difference over those 4 years. Yeah. But I was at least fortunate enough to do it these past 2 years, and it's just it'll stick with us, I'm sure. So.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So coming in as you were a freshman when you first did it, what grade were you in?
I was a junior.
You were a junior. So what drew you guys to the trip? How did you figure out what it was, and why did you apply?
You want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll go for it. I actually applied my freshman year, but I had another commitment at the time, so I ended up not going freshman or my sophomore year. And then junior year rolled around, and I was like, hey, I remember I wanted to do this because I'd done my parish's project Appalachia in high school. So I wanted to see how different it would be. Totally different, by the way. And I went on that first trip, and it just, I don't know, something clicked. And I liked the work that we did. I liked to get to know the people of Harlan. And then from there, I just kind of decided, like immediately after the trip, that I wanted to be a coordinator and try my hand at that. So, yeah.
Very cool.
For me, Project Appalachia is actually partly what drew me to LaSalle. I had a friend that had gone on the trip for, at that point, 3 years, and he was talking about the program and just the kind of mind-opening experience that he had on the trip. And when I was looking at colleges, that is what stuck in my mind about LaSalle University. So that's a large part of why I came to LaSalle, was for that experience.
Now we know all the service trips at LaSalle are very important, and they all of them have great aspects to them. But what is like your selling speech for Appalachia? What sets that apart from all the other service opportunities?
I think for me, what sets our program apart is that we're working in a region that has the economic status comparative to the rest of the United States of a third world country, yet it exists in our own backyard. I'm very proud that this is the 40th year of our program. At the same time, it's kind of sad that we've been working and struggling in this region for over 40 years, and there's still so much work to be done. So I think it highlights the amount of work that needs to get done in this country, as well as the people who are doing it, and the amazing and incredible work that's going into this area.
Most definitely.
Definitely the coal definitely is the thing that I think sets us apart. No, I think
the best part. Like, really?
The coal. It's definitely, naturally we have stereotypes of different areas. People from Philadelphia are rude or say things oddly, and that's how everybody thinks of other regions of America and even outside of the United States. So I think something specific for this trip is to break that stereotype of like the mountaineer southern type of people, because we went there and they're like the nicest people on the earth, and you know, they're much more relatable, but the differences between their background and your background is still evident enough that you can still learn a lot about them. So that's what I think is one of the biggest calling cards for Project Appalachia.
I know for us, Caitlin and I went this past summer together, so we've only been as kind of participants. How is it different being a coordinator and participant? You probably are like a lot more stressed out than you would be as a participant, I'd imagine.
Yeah, stress. Stressed, I don't know if stressed is the right word. Busy.
Yeah, busy is a good word for it.
It is a year-round commitment for if you were a coordinator for a service trip. Fundraising is a thing that I learned that I do not like, but it's a very important part of the trip, and we were fortunate enough to have
fun
fundraising.
Caitlin. Oh, Caitlin. She's coordinating material right there with those puns.
I mean, I think as a coordinator, the great part about being a participant is you get to really develop yourself and have that kind of introspection and get to make relationships and work on projects for yourself. As a coordinator, your responsibility is to step in and help people with that. Help them think about why are we in this area. Help them think about who are we doing, how much good are we able to do here, and how much work are we still going to leave on the table. And to get them to understand that, as well as building an amazing group dynamic. I mean, I think we talk a lot about that LaSalle is such a great, diverse, and rich community. So we're getting to make a microcosm of that and taking that to somewhere that's outside of LaSalle. So it's really great to help build that community, as well as then help participants discover themselves and discover an aspect of the country that they may have not known about.
Absolutely. And besides the work that you guys did, what activities did you take the young ones on to get them involved in the community more? I know we had like something planned every day, and I'm sure you guys had the same thing. What are other activities besides roofing or anything that you did?
Oh, well, the first full day that we were there, we took them through downtown Harlan, which makes it sound a lot bigger than it is, just to kind of understand a little bit more about, you know, like the area that we're helping. We took them to one of the soup kitchens in the area, Christ's Hands, on 2 separate days to just kind of see like some of the other efforts to help the area, like from the area. We went to a coal mining museum one day, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, they had this like
simulated coal
mine. Thank you, and it was like. Also hurts the back though, because you're like hunched over the whole time, but you know.
Hurts the back.
Hurts the back, there you go.
Well, because your simulated coal mine is actually about yay tall. That's about how much space you have. So you're hunched over, crawling underneath there, and there's everything from little shales of coal to mine, to the carts, to the lighting. So it was a great experience in simulation to kind of understand what so many people in that area did. And a great fact that I learned about while we were at the museum is that for every one coal miner, there were 5 other jobs that were needed to support that, whether it was a barber shop or a dentist or a clerk at the Walmart. So the more the job market decreased in that area because of new regulations and because of new technologies that required less coal miners, that rapidly sucked out all these other industries too. So that was a mind-blowing fact that I learned personally at that museum.
That's awesome. Very cool. And I have to ask, I'm sorry, but Huddle House? Did you guys go to Huddle House and get some milkshakes?
We did go to Huddle House.
I think it's important too, besides the kind of educational things like the coal mine and touring the town, it's important to get kind of a holistic view of what we were doing there. So we did things like go to the local diner, which is Huddle House. We went out to Martin Forks Lake, which is a beautiful lake out there. We went to Kingdom Come National Park. Beautiful park. We were up at 2,800 feet at one point.
Something like that.
You didn't hike that though, right?
No, we went to all these different scenic overlooks, and we took all the vans. We got a lot of stairs. We have like 5 little minivans driving through this park.
Somebody said it was like a van commercial where you always see them driving on the side of the van. It was
off-road.
Absolutely.
So it was great. So we got to see so much of the region that is more than just, like Brendan said, the stereotype of, you know, a burnt-out trailer park.
Absolutely. And you don't give soccer mom vans enough credit until you go on Project Appalachia and you see it going up those hills, and then you're like, oh wow. Yeah, my mom she was a G with that minivan.
Nice. So to talk about, when you guys were talking about vans, it made me think of how you're kind of assigned a van and you kind of mesh with that group of people. What was your favorite part of this trip that you went on, either on the work site or maybe with your group that you had? What was your favorite thing?
Well, for me, to be corny, it was all of it. But if I had to pick one specific thing, probably the work site. We got to. I've been trying ever since I started doing service trips to do roofing. I don't know what it is, but everyone keeps talking about it, and I'm always missing out on it.
Fabulous.
So I finally got to do that this year, and then just to see how the people that were on my work site meshed in terms of like teamwork and opening up while they're just hammering stuff in and getting to know the carpenters. Like that whole experience just brought a very specific sense of joy to me because I was like, one, I'm facilitating this as a coordinator, and two, I get to just share in that joy of work that we got out of that. So it's just all the way around, just a well-rounded experience for the worksite for me. So.
Great.
I think my favorite part was definitely the group dynamics. I mean, we were joking one night during reflections. We were asking people what's their favorite part so far in the trip, and almost unanimously they said that the minivan rides was their favorite part because they were blasting music and having fun. And I said to them, I was like, this program is like a $20,000 program, and your favorite part was the
riding in a minivan.
I was like, might as well just drive around Alney a few times. Everyone would have a great time.
Play music.
So, but I mean, it just was a testament to how much that Brendan, Maddie, and myself put into building the group dynamic, and how much everyone gave of themselves to help build that community, which then paid off. I think we got through almost an entire roof. We landscaped an entire front and backyard, and then part of the mountain that Co-op owns. So we just got through so much work because everyone works so hard and works so well together.
Yeah. Well, speaking of music, we only have time for one last question, and this is one last question for each of you. But what song embodies your trip? Did you have a group song or?
I think our final reflection song summed it up pretty well, Brendan. You want to talk about that?
What was that? Okay, so throughout the week
what was the song, Brendan?
I chose, it's called Unity by Trevor Hall, just to talk about solidarity and how everything's connected and stuff like that.
So that's a great way to sum up the trip. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Community Links. This episode, we hope you got to learn more about Alzheimer's and Project Appalachia.
If you have any questions about how to contact us, you can visit our website at lasalle.edu/LaSalleTV, or just follow us on Twitter at CL_LA_SALLE.
You can also get more information about LaSalle service opportunities on UMass's website, our studentaffairs.lasalle.edu/UMass. On behalf of all of us here at the studio, we hope you have a great day.
Thanks, guys.